This is the best ranked system Apex has created so far. It is literally perfect. Me and my boys finally hit Masters. We were hard stuck gold for the past 4 seasons, and we finally did it, man. Thank you, Respawn. Yeah, that was definitely a joke. We need to talk about ranked. I wanted to say something earlier, but I decided to wait and play more to make sure that my thoughts didn't change. Surprise, surprise, it didn't. The current system in place for ranked is way too forgiving. It's not all doom and gloom though. I think Respawn has a great foundation to work with here. The problem with the current ranked system is the same problem the previous ranked system had, and simultaneously, the exact opposite problem the previous system had. Last season, if you wanted to see any sort of meaningful gain, it felt like you had to kill half the lobby and get top 5. Whereas this season, you just get top 5. This has created 4 major problems in ranked that I'm going to discuss with you guys in this video. The first major problem is the rat infestation. Because players know that all they need to do to gain LP is just get top 10, there are now countless lobbies filled with players ratting to get placement points. I have had numerous teammates solo drop into a tree and sit there all game. The rank goes up without them even playing the game. It's not like these people are solos either. They have 2 other teammates, but they choose to drop alone, climb into some random tree, and just go AFK. Then on the flip side, you have people who do the exact opposite. Their teams just ape absolutely everyone they see. It's like they're in a perpetual state of Bloodhound ult. For them, enemy equals W key. It doesn't matter the situation, it doesn't matter how many teams are around them, it doesn't matter if it's zone 4 and 15 teams are somehow still up. If you so much as render on their screens, they will find you. These people have already made up their minds that somebody is going back to the lobby. They don't care if it's you or them, but someone is going back to that lobby. This is also a serious problem because the game doesn't feel competitive when you have 1 or 2 teams running down the entire lobby. On top of that, it means the game isn't being played like an actual battle royale. Tell me, when was the last time any of you watching actually had a real endgame? I'm talking zone 5 with as many as 8 to 10 teams left. Alright, now I'm not saying that every game should be like that, but when you have 9 squads left before the first circle is even closed, I think that's a problem. And the reason why they just ape everything is because the entry cost is so low. I ran the numbers and found out that in order to get demoted by 1 full sub rank as fast as physically possible, for example going from Plat 3 to Plat 2, one would have to lose 29 games in a row. And 28 of those would have to be the full minus 35 penalty. Guys, that's just 1 sub rank. The third big issue that needs to be tackled is the problem of the people who aren't necessarily ratting, but they're still not really playing the game. I'm talking about the guys who sit in zone and craft for 15 minutes before finally walking into the circle. And then you also have the guys who aren't being as egregious as that, but they're still very deliberately avoiding everyone in the lobby with the hopes of getting a top 10 finish. Those guys are typically bunkered up in some random building showing absolutely zero presence. They typically have 2 controller legends on their team and they're usually very weak in team fights. When you find them, you easily roll them. The problem is finding them. The final problem I want to discuss is a problem with hidden MMR. For those of you unfamiliar with MMR, it stands for matchmaking rating, which is basically just skill-based matchmaking. In previous seasons, ranked picked your teammates and enemies based off what rank everybody was. Now it picks players based on hidden MMR. You do well, your MMR goes up. You do bad, your MMR goes down. The problem with that is, there's a lot of players with inflated MMRs right now because it's very easy to do well. This is why the skill distribution in each lobby can be so drastic. Some of the players got to that MMR by killing half the lobby, while others got to that MMR by crafting in zone until there was 5 squads left. That high placement increases their MMR and puts them in higher tier lobbies. This is also why you can be silver 3 and match 3 stack preds. It happened to me even. Your rank has absolutely nothing to do with the kind of lobbies you get into. And that's also why Respawn removed the ability for you to see your teammates' ranks, if any of you were wondering. Now that we've gone over the problems, let's discuss the solution. I think raising the entry cost will fix virtually all of these problems. If the entry cost is increased, people will become more conservative with the fights they choose to take, because if they lose the fight, they will actually feel the impact of the loss. Right now, when I lose 35 LP, I literally can't even see my slider move. It's that unnoticeable. And even with an entry cost of around 70, one would still have to get minus 70 15 times in a row in order to go down one sub rank. So I really don't think it would be too drastic of a change if that were to become a thing. Tangent aside, now that the entry cost is making people more conservative with the fights they choose to take, it's also going to result in more teams being alive later in the game. This should result in it being legitimately difficult to get a high placement since people are choosing to value their lives more. And also because there are many more teams alive late game, it should also effectively get rid of the ratting issue and the other issue of people just sitting in a building doing absolutely nothing and getting LP. Last but not least, it would disincentivize brainlessly YOLOing into people. While there are a handful of other aspects of the current rank system that I'm not really sure how to feel about right now, I do think that these are the 4 biggest and most noticeable problems. And with the simple increase of the entry cost, I do think it will have a ripple effect on all these things that I talked about. Hopefully, Respawn can figure something out because players' ranks right now are not accurate indicators of their skill levels at all. If you have any other suggestions you want to make, if you have anything that you want to put in the comment section that you want to discuss, let me know. Comment down below and I'll respond. We'll get a conversation going. With all that being said, y'all take care.